His proposal to his secretary went viral, and everyone called it romantic and moving. Their secretary even posted a heartfelt message, saying, "I finally waited for you, I'm glad I didn't give up. Mr. Damon, I look forward to spending the rest of my life with you." The comment section was full of excitement saying, "So sweet, female secretary and CEO. These are the sweetest." I didn't cry or make a scene. I quietly closed the page and went to find my boyfriend for an explanation. But I overheard a conversation he was having with his friend. "I have no choice. If I don't marry her family will force her to marry someone she doesn't love. What about Elena? She's your real girlfriend. Aren't you afraid she'll be upset?" Upset? What's the point? Elena has been with me for 7 years. She can't leave me. Later I married him on the same day, as our wedding cars passed each other, and the brides exchanged bouquets. When he saw me in the wedding car opposite, he completely broke down. "Welcome to Love Story, Mom. I've agreed to the arranged marriage." My soft voice felt lonely and numb. Mom was surprised when she heard I had agreed to the marriage arrangement. "But you didn't want to before. Why did you suddenly change your mind?" "Elena, marriage is no small matter. Whether or not it's an arranged marriage doesn't matter. I just want you to be happy. You need to think it through. Don't be impulsive." Listening to Mom's words, I couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat. "Mom, I've thought it through. You can start preparing for the wedding." Mom knew I was upset and fell silent for a moment, before comforting me. "You and Damon have been together for so long, yet he didn't want to announce your relationship, and he's still avoiding meeting your parents. Your father and I knew from the start that it wouldn't last." Her words felt like a needle stabbing into my heart, so the onlookers could see clearly, while I was the only one who was blind. "We've already chosen a good match for you long before. Your father and I have carefully selected someone for you, not to mention their character and family background are both top-notch. My Elena deserves the best." I took a deep breath. "Thank you, Mom. I trust your and Dad's judgment." Mom continued, "Then should we arrange for you two to meet in the next couple of days?" "No need. Just go ahead and prepare for the wedding." I hung up the phone. I wasn't sure when Damon had appeared behind me. He was holding a small cake in his hand and asked with a puzzled expression, "What wedding? Who's getting married?" "Mine, it's mine." I thought quietly to myself, but the words never left my mouth. I shook my head calmly. "Nothing, just a friend." As soon as I said that, I noticed his expression visibly relaxed. My heart tightened again. Had he been that nervous? Did he think I was forcing a marriage on him? Or was it that he was planning to marry his beloved secretary Bonnie and thought I'd found out? "I brought you your favorite cake from that place. Do you want to eat it now?" In the past, Damon would always bring me a treat after work, even if some of it wasn't to my taste. It always felt sweet, because I cherished the feeling of being thought of and fed by the one I loved, far more than the taste of the food itself. But now, looking at this cake, it felt so ironic. Just now I saw that Bonnie had made her once private social media posts public. I scrolled through just a few, and I couldn't continue. It was at this moment that I realized how foolish I had been. The cake. This cake was Bonnie's favorite. Not just this cake, but the other snacks and nuts were also Bonnie's favorites. What's even more pathetic is that I discovered this habit of Damon bringing me food after work started only after Bonnie joined the company. "So Damon, when you were feeding me, who did you think I was, Elena or Bonnie?" I swallowed the bitterness and said softly, "I don't like sweets. It's too rich. Don't buy it again in the future." Damon didn't expect this reaction from me. His eyes showed a hint of surprise. "Really? I've never seen you refuse it before." After so many years together, if he truly cared about me, how could he not notice my food preferences? Some things, after being repeated countless times, eventually become compromises. I didn't argue further. I simply said my taste has changed recently. For several days, Damon seemed incredibly busy, so busy that he forgot my birthday. But I no longer cared. It was as if he suddenly remembered. Though to make it up to me, he bought tickets to my favorite musical. The show was wildly popular and almost impossible to get tickets for. I couldn't get any myself, so when Damon told me he had tickets and invited me. I agreed, but on the day of the performance, Damon never showed up. Instead, I saw Bonnie's post on a social media platform, showing off 2 tickets. Her caption read, "Just watching a concert to kill time. It's so nice to have someone who's always there to indulge your whims." Though she didn't show her face, the scarred hand in the photo was unmistakably Damon's. That scar was from the time he saved me years ago. In that moment I felt like a fool. While I stood outside in the rain, worried that something might have happened to him, he was inside sitting in a VIP seat with his secretary, enjoying the show. Cold raindrops fell on my face, chilling both my body and my heart. Then a message from my mom came through, telling me their wedding was set for 2 weeks later, and asking if I felt it was too rushed. She said they could delay it if I wanted. I shook my head. No need. Just like this, the storm had paralyzed the city's traffic, and I waited a long time without being able to hail a cab. Damon finally called me. "Why aren't you at home?" My voice was calm without a hint of emotion. "I'm at the People's Theatre." It was as if he suddenly remembered something. He paused for a moment, before saying, "I'm sorry. Something came up this afternoon. Wait there, I'll come get you." I didn't refuse, but I also knew he wouldn't come. Sure enough, the next moment, Bonnie updated her social media again, to keep me from catching a cold in the rain. My CEO hubby made ginger tea himself. "A man in the kitchen is the most handsome. Marry me." The photo showed Damon at the stove cooking. I glanced at it once, before calmly exiting the page. The rain inevitably left me with a cold and fever. I used the excuse of not wanting to infect Damon to move into the guest room. For once, Damon put aside his work to stay home and take care of me, but I couldn't adjust to it. "It's just a small cold. I'm an adult, I can take care of myself. Go focus on your work." He stared at me strangely for a long moment. "Didn't you always want me to stay with you when you were sick? Why are you acting so differently today?" I lowered my head to hide the emotions in my eyes and forced a smile. I was immature back then. "I'm not like that anymore." Damon looked at me with concern. "Elena, are you okay?" "I'm fine. You can go now." He still felt that something was off about me but couldn't figure out what. Finally he just stared at me deeply and sighed. "All right, rest well and call me if you need anything." After he left, I let out a long breath and lay down to sleep again. When I woke up, I saw that my mom had sent me detailed plans for the wedding, along with photos of over a dozen wedding dresses for me to choose from. I absent-mindedly scrolled through them, enlarging the images to take a closer look. I was so focused that I didn't even notice Damon entering the room. Suddenly he grabbed my phone and tossed it aside, frowning in displeasure. "Why are you looking at wedding dresses?" I thought he'd found out about my upcoming wedding, and was about to come clean, but his next words made me realize just how laughable my assumption was. "Elena, are you trying to pressure me into marrying you? I've already told you I'll marry you. You don't need to play these little tricks to hint at it. It's so undignified." "You misunderstood. I'm not." But Damon waved his hand, cutting me off, without listening to my explanation. "I have things to do. Let me give you some advice. Stop pulling stunts like this. It only drains my feelings for you." The door slammed shut with a loud bang, and the entire room fell into a deathly silence. I stood there for a long time, letting out a self-deprecating laugh. "Damon, how much of your feelings for me or even left to drain in the past?" His misunderstandings would have left me sleepless and anxious, but now I quickly composed myself. I returned to reviewing the details my mom sent me about the wedding. Before exiting the messaging app, I casually tapped on the notification dot for his social media. To my surprise, Damon, who rarely posted anything, had just updated his feed. His post read, "Someone as wonderful as you deserves to be kept close, so I can feel at ease." The photo was a solo shot of Bonnie, paired with an image of their wedding invitation. Within a minute, a mutual friend commented, "Bro, just like that. The bride gets swapped out so easily." The post vanished soon after, but reappeared moments later on Bonnie's profile. Then Damon called me. In the past, I would have immediately taken screenshots, called him back and demanded an explanation. No fight would have ended without a storm, but this time, I didn't answer. Even after the call ended, I felt no urge to pick up. Strangely, I wasn't as upset as I thought I'd be. Maybe I'd become numb. My first reaction was to note that their wedding date coincided with mine. What a coincidence. When Damon came home, I was already in bed pretending to sleep. He opened the door quietly and walked over to my bedside. Elena, are you asleep? Why didn't you answer my calls? Facing away from him, I mumbled. I fell asleep accidentally, and didn't hear it. He let out a sigh of relief, leaned down and reached out to check my forehead for a fever. Is the fever gone? As he moved closer, the scent of women's perfume clung to him, making me nauseous. I nearly gagged instinctively. I shifted away from his touch. His hand froze mid-air, his expression full of confusion. Tentatively, he asked Elena, did you see something? Burying myself under the blanket, I muffled my voice. No, I'm just tired from the cold. I want to sleep. I slept soundly through the night and finally felt lighter the next morning. Gathering my strength, I began packing my things, erasing every trace of myself from this house bit by bit. That's when I noticed all the little matching items I had bought for us as a couple. In the beginning, Damon had used them with me, but at some point he had tossed them aside to collect dust. I packed up all the unused items and threw them into the trash. Then I found an album. It was filled with photos from our travels, postcards we collected together, tickets from our long-distance visits, and letters he wrote to me. The album was once a treasure chest of memories from our years together, but ever since Bonnie appeared, not a single new photo had been added. When Damon came home, I was throwing the album into the fireplace. He dashed over as if possessed, pulling the chart album out of the flames with his bare hands, ignoring the burns on his hand. He looked at me with rage. Are you insane? Do you know how important this album is to us? Why would you burn it? Damon rarely raised his voice at me, but this was the first time he shouted so angrily. The care in his eyes didn't seem fake, but the fact that he was hiding his plans to marry someone else was just as real. I didn't want to argue with him, so I casually lied. The album was moldy and infested with bugs. I've already backed up everything in it. I'll make a new one later. Hearing this, he calmed down. While applying burn ointment to his hand, Damon stared at me and suddenly spoke. Elena, you seem off lately. Is work stressing you out? I've booked a personalized vacation for you. Go relax and unwind. My hand paused mid-motion as I applied the ointment. I looked up at him. Just me? You're not coming with me? Damon sighed, his tone full of regret. I'm too busy with work. I can't get away. I'll join you next time, okay? But Damon, there won't be a next time for us. I lowered my head and continued what I was doing. Work might not let me take time off. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it for you, he replied. I don't want to go, I insisted. His tone left no room for refusal. Be good, I've already booked everything, and it's non-refundable. I didn't say anything, but my heart grew colder with every word. I remembered last night when I was half awake and overheard Damon talking on the phone with someone. I'm not planning to tell her. As long as I can keep it under wraps, I will. Just to be safe during the wedding, I'll send her on a trip. Let her enjoy herself for a bit, the person on the other end said. And then what are you going to make her the other woman? Damon fell silent for a long time, so long it felt like an eternity. I heard the deep drag of a cigarette followed by a slow exhale. Finally, after what felt like a century, he spoke. What happens after that? We'll just take it one step at a time. The pain was unbearable, like a knife twisting in my heart. I lay in bed, tears blurring my vision, feeling like the past 7 years of my life had been nothing but a cruel joke. Damon, it seems I never really knew you. If you don't love me anymore, why not just say it? Why choose to deceive me? Are you afraid I'll cling to you? Is that why you're using this elaborate plan to send me away during your wedding? You don't need to go to such lengths. Damon, I will fulfill your wish and disappear completely from your world. I asked him, when is the flight? The day after tomorrow. I smiled. All right, I'll go. Hearing this, Damon visibly relaxed and instinctively reached out to pat my head. I subtly moved away. He paused for a moment, then smiled. Before you go, let's have dinner together. I thought about it for a moment and finally nodded. Tomorrow happens to be our 7-year anniversary. Let's end it properly. I thought we'll say our goodbyes and this relationship will begin and end on the same day. The next day I arrived early at the restaurant where Damon and I had agreed to meet. He showed up on time. But he wasn't alone. Bonnie was with him. Elena, she said sweetly, Damon and I were nearby for some errands, so we decided to come together. I hope we're not interrupting. I shook my head, but my heart sank with disappointment. It seemed even this last farewell meal couldn't be complete. Damon ordered a table full of light dishes. Bonnie, noticing the dishes on the table, chuckled. These dishes are too bland. I don't think they suit Elena's taste. Do they? Damon, completely unbothered, replied, You're on your period, you shouldn't eat spicy food. As he spoke, he thoughtfully called over the waiter and asked them to take away the cold drink in front of Bonnie, replacing it with a cup of brown sugar ginger tea. Bonnie pouted, complaining that Damon was too controlling. Damon playfully tapped her on the forehead. If I don't take care of you, you'll be crying later when your stomach starts hurting. Bonnie stuck out her tongue and teased, You're exaggerating, you're just too worried about me. The two of them flirted openly in front of me, completely ignoring my presence. I watched with a calm gaze, my heart unmoved, not even a ripple of emotion left. As we ate, someone suddenly shouted fire. Chaos erupted in the restaurant, as people scattered, rushing toward the exits. I stood up only to see a figure flash past me. The next moment, I saw Damon tightly holding Bonnie in his arms, shielding her as he hurried out without looking back. For a moment it felt like I was transported back in time through the tunnel of memory, to when we were 18. Back then, in a similar situation, the person he had risked everything to protect was me. Once we reached a safe place, Damon finally came to his senses. He turned to look at me standing not far away, his face full of shock. I was in such a hurry just now. I didn't mean to. I cut him off with a smile. It's fine, I understand. The day Damon had booked for my trip arrived quickly. I packed my suitcase early and made sure there was no trace of me left in the room. With my luggage in hand, I left without looking back. Of course I didn't go on the trip. Instead, I returned to my parents' home to prepare for my wedding. After all, my big day was just around the corner. Damon, meanwhile, was too busy trying on wedding attire with Bonnie to even notice my absence. The wedding day arrived in the blink of an eye. For the first time I met my arranged fiancé Stefan. I had to admit, my parents had excellent taste. He looked even better in person than in the photos. Handsome, tall, and perfectly put together. He was flawless. The procession was grand. I got into the wedding car, and we set off in a magnificent convoy. At one point our car passed another coming from the opposite direction. Both cars stopped, as if en coup, allowing the brides to exchange bouquets. The car window slowly rolled down. Inside the other car, Damon and I locked eyes. A storm of disbelief and shock surged in his gaze. His voice trembled as he spoke, unable to hide his astonishment. Elena, how could it be you? Damon couldn't believe his eyes. His heart raced uncontrollably, as he murmured to himself, It must be a mistake. Elena was supposed to be on her trip. How could she be here? I must be imagining her because I miss her too much. Bonnie was equally stunned. She stared at me, utterly speechless. Compared to their shock, I was much calmer, my face devoid of unnecessary emotion. I extended my bouquet to Bonnie. It was as if she suddenly woke from a dream. She hesitated before taking it from me and handing me hers in return. I smiled and said to her, I wish you both happiness. The car windows rolled up and both wedding convoys started moving again, driving off in completely opposite directions, just like my relationship with Damon, destined to part ways. Yet as the car pulled away, I thought I heard a heart-wrenching scream. Instinctively, I turned toward the sound, but Stefan, sitting next to me, reached out and gently covered my eyes. His voice, tinged with an unexpected hint of vulnerability, sounded in my ear. Elena, since you've agreed, you can't look back now. Was it my imagination? Why did he sound as if he were hurt, even though we were getting married today? Stefan and I were practically strangers. Emotions like hurt or disappointment shouldn't exist between us. It must have been a trick of my unsettled mind. I moved his hand away and solemnly reassured him. Don't worry, I believe in keeping promises. Since I agreed To this marriage, I'll honor our agreement, I won't go back on my word. Besides, Damon isn't worth me doing anything differently. In the other car, Damon grew more and more anxious, ignoring Bonnie's attempts to calm him. He immediately called the airline to check on my travel details, only to learn that I hadn't boarded the flight. His mind went blank for a moment. With trembling hands, he called the travel agency. Has the tour guide picked up Elena? The negative response completely shattered him. Elena, the bride in that car just now, had to be Elena. She lied to me. She didn't go on the trip at all. Elena, losing all composure, Damon rolled down the window and screamed toward my car, but the only response he received was the fading trail of exhaust fumes as my car drove further and further away. Bonnie tried to console him. Damon, you must be mistaken. That woman just looks a lot like Elena. But Damon refused to listen. He was certain it was me and shouted angrily at the driver, turn around right now, chase that wedding car. The driver, clearly unaccustomed to such a situation, hesitated and didn't act immediately. Seeing this, Bonnie yelled at the driver, don't turn around, keep driving forward. She leaned her entire body toward Damon, trying to calm him down. Damon, whether that person is Elena or not has nothing to do with us anymore. Today is my wedding day. Don't let these outsiders ruin our special day. Let's talk about whatever it is after we get married, okay? But Damon wasn't having it. He shoved her away forcefully. Get out of my way. His eyes were bloodshot, his expression terrifyingly dark and his gaze sharp enough to kill. He barked at the driver again. Turn around immediately. The driver, frightened by Damon's demeanor, no longer dared to hesitate. He quickly turned the car around and accelerated. Bonnie, now in a complete panic, screamed at him, Damon, today is our wedding. The guests are all waiting for us. What are you doing? Let's go back, please. There are so many people waiting, and if you keep this up, what will our parents say? But Damon wasn't listening. He had completely lost his composure. Then there won't be a wedding. Bonnie hadn't expected such words, and became desperate. No, Damon, you can't do this. You promised you'd take responsibility for me. If I don't marry you, I'll die. Damon, you can't do this to me. Bonnie wept pitifully, her tears falling like raindrops on air flour, but her pleas and sobs didn't elicit even the slightest sympathy from Damon. He looked at her with nothing but irritation and disdain. I'm supposed to take responsibility for you, then who takes responsibility for me? My girlfriend is about to marry someone else, and I can't do anything about it. I just want to find her. Damon kept urging the driver to go faster, while Bonnie screamed at the driver to turn back. In her rage, Bonnie grabbed the steering wheel, trying to force the car back on course. Damon reached out to stop her, and chaos erupted inside the vehicle. Blaring horns filled the air, followed by the deafening sound of a violent collision. The wedding convoy soon arrived at the hotel. During a break to touch up my makeup, I finally turned on my phone. Messages flooded in, instantly overwhelming my screen. They were all from Damon. Elena, can you please pick up the phone? Elena, I was wrong. Please come back. Don't marry someone else. I'm begging you, please. Come back. I can't lose you. There were countless missed calls and messages, and surprisingly, even Bonnie had sent me a series of texts. Hers were full of provocation. Elena, today is Damon and my wedding day. He sent you away on purpose to avoid any drama. If you have any self-respect, break up with him on your own, and stop clinging to him. The one who isn't loved is always the third wheel. Do you think Damon hasn't broken up with you because he loves you? No. He just pities you. He hasn't loved you for a long time. You're older now, unlike me, young, beautiful, and full of life. Being with me makes him feel alive and full of energy. But you're just a dull, aging woman. He told me he can't even stand to look at you. I read her messages with indifference, finding them childish. If Bonnie and Damon's so-called love were truly solid, she wouldn't need to stoop to such insecurity-fueled provocations. As the supposed victor, she should feel untouchable, not resort to this. This wasn't the first time Bonnie had tried to provoke me. The last time was when I brought Damon a meal for the final time. Damon had stomach problems from his early entrepreneurial days, so over the years I'd carefully prepared meals to help ease his condition. After Bonnie became his secretary. She started bringing him food under the guise of saving time and being efficient at work. She was always blatant about it, saying things like, Elena, you and Damon are my greatest benefactors. I see how hard you work, and as his secretary, it's my responsibility to take care of his daily needs. Damon and I had helped Bonnie once in the past, and she often brought it up as if it justified her actions. At first I felt uncomfortable. Her behavior seemed to overstep boundaries, but Damon brushed it off, telling me I was overthinking. Don't read too much into it. She's just trying to repay us for helping her. Besides, her cooking isn't even as good as yours, he said casually. Elena, trust me, stop overthinking. All right. His words didn't reassure me though. The unease in my heart remained. Damon noticed and in front of me called Bonnie into his office. With his arm around my shoulder, he told her, Bonnie, you don't need to bring me food anymore. Just focus on your job. Elena is all I need for my meals. Bonnie's eyes immediately reened. She looked like a scolded child, trembling with tears brimming in her eyes, ready to fall at any moment. She bowed deeply to me, her voice filled with fear as she apologized. I'm so sorry, Elena. I only wanted to show my gratitude to Damon. If I caused any misunderstanding, I apologize. Please don't be angry with Damon because of me. You can hit me or scold me. Just don't let me ruin your relationship with him. Her exaggerated humility made me furrow my brow, instinctively feeling incredibly uncomfortable. I voiced my concerns to Damon, but he dismissed me again, saying I was overthinking things. I've already told her not to bring me food anymore. Cheer up, Elena. With that one line, he silenced all the words I hadn't yet spoken. After that, things returned to normal. Bonnie stopped doing anything overtly inappropriate, and I gradually let down my guard, convincing myself that perhaps I had indeed been overthinking. I even felt guilty for misunderstanding Bonnie, and went out of my way to make amends. I occasionally reminded Damon to look after Bonnie at work, thinking I was doing the right thing. That is, until I fell ill and couldn't bring Damon's meals for a while. The next time I brought Damon's meal, Bonnie greeted me with her usual enthusiasm, but the moment I saw the necklace around her neck, my heart sank. It was identical to one I owned a gift from Damon for our anniversary. I vividly remember Bonnie admiring it back then, saying, this necklace is so beautiful. Damon has such great taste. You're so lucky, Elena. Unlike me, I probably won't ever have the chance to wear something so gorgeous in my lifetime. Even then, her words had left a bad taste in my mouth. Now, seeing me staring at the necklace, Bonnie met my gaze with a smile, her expression unashamed. That necklace, I began without hesitation. She responded casually. Damon gave it to me. I confronted Damon about it later, but he brushed it off, claiming it was a reward for Bonnie's hard work. He told me I was overthinking things. That was also the day I went back to Damon's office to retrieve a bag I'd left behind, only to see the meal I'd carefully prepared for him tossed in the trash. For the first time, Bonnie dropped her pretense in front of me. With a mocking smile, she said, Elena, I don't eat cilantro. Next time you bring food, remember not to add it. At that moment, it was as if I'd been struck by lightning. Damon had been giving the meals I made for him to Bonnie. I don't remember how I left the office that day. What followed was the biggest fight Damon and I had ever had in all our years together. We didn't speak for an entire month. In the end, I forgave him because of our history, because of the Damon I used to know. The Damon I remembered was so good, so kind that I couldn't bring myself to believe he would betray our love. Damon and I grew up together, childhood sweethearts. I always thought we'd be together forever. I never imagined a day when we'd part ways. When I was in middle school, my parents moved to another city for work and left me behind to focus on my education. I was sent to live with my aunt. My aunt had her own children and a demanding job, so she was rarely home. Most of the time it was just me and my cousins. To them, I was an outsider, an intruder in their home. They made their dislike for me clear and treated me poorly. At school, my cousin once rallied others to bully me, pushing me into an artificial lake. I didn't cry for help. I knew no one would come. I gave up, letting the water close over me. Then suddenly I heard a splash. Damon had jumped into the lake to save me. It was a freezing winter day. yet he seemed to shine with a warm light. "Why didn't you call for help when they bullied you?" he scolded. "From now on just call me Damon and I'll take care of you. Nobody will dare touch you again." He kept his promise. After that no one at school dared to bother me. When my cousin tricked me into eating a cake mixed with nuts, causing a severe allergic reaction that nearly killed me, Damon was the one who came to my rescue like a guardian angel. When I was trapped in a fire on the verge of losing my life, it was Damon who charged through the thick smoke, carrying me on his back, step by step to safety. He bore the scars of that fire on his body, scars that would stay with him for the rest of his life. At that time I cried bitterly, overcome with guilt and self-reproach, but Damon gently wiped away my tears, smiling as if it were nothing. "It's just a scar," he said casually. "It doesn't make me any less handsome." His indifference only made my tears fall harder. "Does it hurt?" I asked. Seeing me cry, he panicked, fumbling for words. "It doesn't hurt. Not even a little. Please don't cry. Okay, I'm begging you, when you cry, everything hurts." Back then he didn't hesitate to rush into a burning building to save me, but now he runs to save someone else, and it's no longer me. Later the golden boy Damon faced a sudden family tragedy. Overnight his family fell apart, leaving him burdened with an enormous debt. He plummeted from the heights of privilege into the depths of despair. I stood on tiptoe to kiss away his tears and whispered, "You still have me. I'll always be here for you." Without hesitation I chose to attend the same university as him. Moving to the city where he was, we got together right after graduation. Back then Damon loved me deeply and treated me with such care. We were poor, but we were happy. We lived in a tiny shared apartment, with no windows, scraping by, and saving every penny to pay off his debts as quickly as possible. Our only way to relax was taking long walks hand in hand. Because it cost nothing, even so I felt happy as long as I was with him, even sitting quietly without doing anything, I felt content. Once when he was drunk, he clasped my hand and grinned at me. Digging into his pocket, he pulled out a delicate necklace and carefully put it around my neck. "Keep this for now," he said. "When we have more money, I'll get you something better." Later we did have more money, and I did get better necklaces, but my favorite was still that simple, delicate one from before. Everyone said Damon was incredible to me. So many people, after achieving success, abandoned the partners who stood by them in their hardest times, but Damon and I had been together for so many years, and our relationship still seemed strong. If it weren't for Bonnie, I might have believed that too. Maybe it was because I was so trapped in the beauty of our past, unwilling to accept that he had fallen out of love, that I gave him the chance to hurt me over and over again. But now I've finally woken up. I've let go completely. The wedding began quickly. I walked down the aisle arm in arm with my father, step by step until I reached Stefan. In front of all the guests, my father solemnly placed my hand into Stefan's. Stefan took out the ring, ready to slide it onto my finger. Just then a commotion erupted outside. The tightly shut doors were suddenly thrown open. Damon appeared before me, covered in blood, dragging an injured leg. He struggled step by step toward the stage where I stood, leaving a trail of bright red blood behind him. The entire room fell into stunned silence, shocked by the unexpected scene, ignoring the security guards trying to stop him. Damon looked at me with desperation in his eyes. "Elena," he pleaded, "don't marry him. I'm begging you, come with me." This was my wedding with Stefan, and the guests were all prominent figures. I had no desire to become the talk of the town for something like this. Nor did I want to ruin the wedding my parents had been eagerly anticipating for so long. I asked Stefan to call security to escort Damon out. This brief interruption didn't affect the wedding. Everything went smoothly from that point forward. After the final ceremony and after seeing off the guests, I turned to Stefan. "Can you give me a moment to handle what happened earlier? I want to settle things with him." Stefan gave me his full trust, nodding without hesitation. "Go ahead, but please be careful. If you need help, just call me. I'll be right here." For some reason his steady demeanor gave me an immense sense of security. Damon had been placed in a separate room, under the watch of security guards. When I arrived, one of them quickly approached me. "Can you talk to him? He was in a car accident and lost a lot of blood." We've been urging him to go to the hospital, but he refuses to leave no matter. What if this continues? He might lose too much blood. It's a serious risk. I nodded to the guard, signaling that I understood. Pushing the door open, I found Damon sitting inside, his face pale with beads of sweat covering his forehead. He looked like he was in excruciating pain. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up, and he forced a smile despite his condition. Elena, you finally came. Please come home with me. Looking at him like this, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of emotion. After all, I had loved him once. You're injured, go to the hospital first. We can talk later, I said. But he stubbornly shook his head. No, not unless you promise to come home with me. I sighed in exasperation. Damon, we've already broken up. I'm married. Now, please wake up. No, I don't accept it. Who said we broke up? I never agreed to it. I sighed. Again, the moment you decided to marry Bonnie, we were over. Wasn't it clear? Damon, I sent you our breakup message. You didn't respond, which I took as your silent agreement. Damon, looking desperate, tried to explain. I didn't see your message. Elena, if this is about Bonnie, I can explain. I didn't mean to hide it from you. I don't have feelings for her. I only agreed to marry her because I felt sorry for her. Her rural parents were forcing her to marry someone she didn't want to. And I just wanted to help her by agreeing to a fake marriage. Elena, believe me, there's nothing between us. She's someone we rescued together from traffickers, someone we supported financially. She calls me her brother, and I helped her because of that bond from beginning to end. The only one I've ever loved is you. I couldn't help but find it laughable. If what you're saying is true, that it was just to help her, then why didn't you tell me the truth? Why did you lie to me? Damon, you keep saying you love me, but have you ever respected me? He panicked. It's not like that, Elena. I admit. It was wrong to hide it from you, but you have to understand. I did it for you. I didn't want you to overthink, to get hurt or upset, so I kept it from you. At this point, I couldn't tell what part of his story was true and what was false, but it didn't matter anymore. None of it mattered. Because I no longer cared. Taking a deep breath, I said, it doesn't matter, Damon, we're over. You don't need to explain anything to me. As soon as the words left my mouth, Damon shot up from his seat, his movement aggravating his injured leg. He gasped in pain, his forehead immediately covered in beads of sweat. Despite the agony, he gritted his teeth and continued to plead. Elena, I know I hurt you. I know I made mistakes, but after realizing the bride was you, you have no idea how terrified I was of losing you. At that moment, it felt like the end of the world. Maybe this accident was divine punishment for me, a reminder of how much I've wronged you. But Elena, I've learned my lesson. I love you, let's start over, please. In my memories, Damon had never been this desperate or humble before me. I looked at him calmly and said, Damon, stop struggling. Admitting that you've fallen out of love isn't shameful. I believe you loved me once, but the fact that you've fallen out of love now is also true. He anxiously interrupted me. That's not true. I still love you, Elena. Please believe me. I smiled faintly. You say you love me, yet you can't even remember my preferences. The food you bought for me was always what Bonnie liked. You say you love me, yet the gifts you gave me were the same as hers. You say you love me, yet you forgot my birthday and our anniversary. You say you love me, yet in the most dangerous moment, you left me behind without hesitation to run to someone else. Damon, is that what you call love? If so, your love is cheap. Seeing my indifferent expression, he began to panic. Elena, I know I've done wrong. While I was waiting for you outside just now, I finally understood what it feels like to wait. I've made you wait so many times before. I'm sorry, I know I've done so many things wrong before, and you have every right to be angry. Elena, I'm begging you, just give me one more chance and I'll change. I'll become the partner you deserve. His voice choked with emotion. I'll learn to cook for you, share the housework with you, and pick you up from work every day. I'll never eat anyone else's food again. I'll eat what you like with you. If you want to travel, I'll go anywhere with you. I'll never forget your birthday again, never miss another anniversary, and never leave you for someone else's call. I looked at him expressionless, saying nothing. He grew more desperate. I handled things with Bonnie poorly, but I'll fix it. I won't see her again. I'll make her leave the company and delete all her contact information. I chuckled coldly. So you do know what you've done wrong, yet you still treated me like this. The truth is you never cared about me. You took my love for granted, thinking I wouldn't leave no matter how you treated me. That's why you acted so recklessly, number. That's not true. I care about you. I love you, Elena. Sorry I don't feel it. All I felt was your disregard and disrespect. The way you catered to Bonnie's every need. Always there for her, taking care of her. That's what love looks like. His face turned ashen. I admit I lost my way. I thought my pity for her was love. But it was all a mistake. When I realized you were leaving, I finally understood my heart. It's always been you. Just the thought of losing you tears me apart. I was foolish not to recognize my feelings for you and Bonnie sooner. Even during our arguments, I intentionally used Bonnie to provoke you. I had no real feelings for her. Her worship of me, her dependence, and my pity for her as a vulnerable person, those clouded my judgment. Elena, please. Let's start over. No, I don't love you anymore. My voice was calm. Damon, you don't deserve my love. I am worthy of a pure, beautiful relationship. Worthy of someone who is devoted to me. With that I turned and walked away. Damon stumbled after me on his injured leg, his body bloodied, trying to grab hold of me. I turned back, my voice cold and firm. Stop trying to gain sympathy. It won't work. He trembled slightly, his eyes filled with despair. No, Elena. Without hesitation I walked to Stefan, who smiled and extended his hand toward me. I exhaled deeply, placed my hand in his, and we smiled at each other. Together we walked away without looking back. Later I heard that Bonnie succumbed to her injuries from the car accident, on the day of the wedding, unable to be saved despite being rushed to the hospital. Damon, refusing everyone's pleas, dragged his injured body in search of me. But because he delayed treatment, the damage to his severely injured leg worsened, and it had to be amputated. Years later, when Stefan and I had a 2-year-old child, I occasionally heard news about Damon. He would often say to anyone who would listen, "Where is my Elena? Who lost my Elena?" He would mutter to himself. If 18-year-old Damon met 28-year-old Damon, he would never forgive him. Stefan and Elena become new role model online. People often praise them, and their life is filled with love and happiness. End.